Okay, so like today's agenda is basically like to understand what is single sign-on and how to implement and what are the use cases. So we will proceed ahead with the SSL SSO introduction. So like first first thing is like we have to understand what is SSL. Like first of all, we need to describe what single sign-on is. As it tries to say in its name, SSO is a way to avoid multiple signups. That means if we use multiple tools which require authentication, for example, like Windows Station, Outlook, Teamcenter, Polarion, ServiceNow, Jira, etc. So, so we could run all of them without entering user password each time. It is necessary only one-time authentication, and it is called the SSO. Let's imagine like we log in our Windows station, and after this, no user password is asked anymore for any other applications. So like even Windows authentication. So it authenticates to everything using SSO through Windows session. Logon is an example of SSO like hosted by Microsoft. You can say, of course, like fully SSO. It is this is kind of the way of using the SSO. But today we are going to more focus on like configuring our Teamcenter with SSO. So here you can see like Teamcenter client and other applications like without SSO, like user has to provide credentials for every application. Like nowadays, like you are aware about like if you are working on Polarion integration clients or AWC or RAC. So every time we have to put user ID and password, even though like if you want to access our company portals, so everywhere like it is got right now it is got uh, SSO. So every time it will generate a password, and after approval, we don't need to provide credentials manually. Like it will collect from existing session tokens. So, so this is the next slide, which will describe you like how SSO will work with Teamcenter. Right now we can see integration client, Polarion, AWC, RAC, all like we can see like by providing a single password. Like if we perform configuration of Windows authentication, like people called it like Kerberos, where we define like authentication type should be the Windows authentication. Then it will, once you provide the SSO credential to the system, your system will accept, system will allow you to rest other softwares, and it will not ask any user ID and password further. Here we can showcase you like Teamcenter Rack, AWC, and integration client, like how it looks like. So in image we can see like if any user ID provide a single credential, so rack and integration client will not once you log into the rack, so integration client will not ask for the uh, separate login again. And for AWC, yes, for AWC definitely we need to provide a uh, separate credentials for it. Just because like earlier in Teamcenter days, like AWC was generating TC war, and right now it is completely changed, like microservices based. So when we are using separate web server, so we need to categorize it through our SSO application ID, and by separating it with SSO application ID and the gateway URL, it got changed. So reason why we need to provide a separate user ID and password for AWC. So this is what like Teamcenter security services work like. This right now like all the Teamcenter client login mechanism got changed. Like earlier, like Teamcenter client was reaching to your web server directly. Right now, like TCC has got involved from Teamcenter 9. TCC has got available in market, but nowadays like it is getting compulsory to manage the all environments. Like using TCCS, we can configure other SSO configurations like SAML authentication, Kerberos, smart card based configuration. All these kind of configurations are available and we can manage. So I'll simply showcase you one basic flow. Like here, the browser, second point, like which where the browser right now it got replaced with session agent. So first, like end user will try to launch Teamcenter by using rack. It will lead to it will lead him to a browser where he needs to provide user ID and password. So login service will work over there. Login service will collect the credentials. After collecting the credentials, SSO login service will pass those credentials to identity service. Identity service will tightly work with LDAP. So it will cross verify your credentials with LDAP. If LDAP suggested like yes, these credentials are available, then your user will get authenticate. And by once user get authenticate, like your identity service will send that user once again to your um, original application, and it will check, like in our context, like we have Teamcenter. In Teamcenter organization, it will check like is that user is available or not. So if user is available, then your Teamcenter session will get started. If user is not available in Teamcenter, then only user get authenticated by LDAP, but Teamcenter will not get login. So here are few confusions. Like first, do we need to keep your Teamcenter user ID and domain ID password should be same? So ID should be matched. Password is not mandatory. You can the LDAP password is the one who is going to authenticate you. So let's go for SSO implementation part. We will go through slide one by one, and then we will focus on try to perform demo activity. So how we can implement the SSO? So like building or the implementing SSO means like there are couple of activities got involved and several configurations got involved. Today's session will not cover all of those configurations like SAML or Federal or the Kerberos authentication, but the basic SSO services configuration and how Teamcenter will work with it, those demo we are going to cover. So building, configuring like SSO identity service and login service. Those then like checking how Teamcenter, it means how to enable Teamcenter SSO mode, then how to configure like active workspace for SSO, how Teamcenter Rich Client will work with SSO, and if we have performed the integration of NX or any CAD integration, how it will work. So those all behaviors we will try to check. So for building SSO, first step is like it's not mentioned over here, but the first thing is we need to confirm the prerequisites like the LDAP or the Apache DS, you can say those should be available. So the LDAP is the one who is going to maintain your all the user credentials, which is basically it depends like which kind of LDAP you are going to use. Like there is a Windows Service LDAP or Apache DS you can use. Today we have like Apache DS at our end. So here here you can see like here we have created one LDAP server like Teamcenter user. It is a kind of test. I'm not going to deep dive over here, but I just want to give you one simple glimpse. Like for configuring SSO, there are some prerequisites. SSO is not dependent or for a specific brand or for Teamcenter specific service, but few services are provided by Teamcenter which help us to achieve our SSO configuration for Teamcenter server and client. Here we can see like I have created one domain, and my domain is like name like NTPS, and other configurations I have mentioned over there like my organization unit, and these are the users I have created. So we will go with InfoDB users I have created over here. This is the primary steps which we need to take care. In organization, like by default, the AD has been maintained. So the administrator who is going to configure their SSO with Teamcenter, he don't have to worry. He just need to ask few questions with their network team or the domain team, like your LDAP server host and the port number which is running on, and the base DNS and query DNS stuff. Earlier SSO configuration UI was different in Teamcenter 13. I'm not sure, but yes, from Teamcenter 13 and 14, it got changed a bit. So we will go one by one and we will check. Like first activity, like once LDAP and their information is available at your end, then the activity is build the Teamcenter security service. Building Teamcenter security services involve two major services: identity service and login service. To configure identity service and login service, there is a separate setup which is available. So you can go to the I have like setup criteria. These are my setup criteria. Like I'm using SQL Server 2019. Then even though it is showcasing 22, but those are the setup files. But uh, SQL Server 2019 Teamcenter is 14. Then Teamcenter SSO Server also 14, and Apache is like 8.5. This is my server or you can say like platforms. Then media availability you can say, and there is a one more like Java, which is important. So for configuring uh, identity service and login service, we need to extract our setup. So this is the SSO setup which is available in your Teamcenter existing setup. From here, you can extract it to your required location. So I think I have already mentioned in slide. Let's go there first. So here is I have few pictures I have mentioned, like configuring Teamcenter server to enable SSO mode. Okay, so for identity service, I need to showcase you few things. Like for using this setup, you can extract the web client setup, or you can say like web application manager. I have created two web applications. Like my Teamcenter Portair architecture is already installed on this machine, and then so my web client is available there, and here is my SSO web client. So if I launch this insweb.bat, I have configured like identity service and login service. So as I mentioned earlier, like identity service is closely work with uh, um, your domain. So or you can say LDAP. So all those information we need to provide over here. Like in this web context parameter, here you can see I have not provided any Teamcenter related information. I have just provided like logging level and the identity service password. This password is going to use for communication between your login service and identity service. Then in identity service, we need to provide this major stuff like application registry. In application registry, here you can see I have mentioned the application ID which I'm going to use in Teamcenter Server Manager, and these are the application root URL. So these are basically once your user get authenticated to LDAP, so it has to be redirected to your original application, and it got this is how it will read the application root URL and go back to your application. This is LDAP username attribute. Like if you are using um, Windows LDAP activity, so you can provide like default name at default attribute name like SAM account name. Right now I'm using Apache DS, so I'm using UID, and rest other parameters you can configure. So then like LDAP domain map configuration available over here. I have provided like user supplied name like my domain name. I have mentioned over here. It is not compulsory. You can keep it blank also. And few entries of and the entries about like the how my after I sharing my user credentials to login service, and login service will pass it to the IDS, and IDS will help to search inside your domain. So those information are available over here. Then like LDAP configuration stuff, here you can see like LDAP host, and for the moment my these all Teamcenter components and these services are installed on same machine. So you can say like single box environment. So like LDAP port, other LDAP related information, this query DN, other activity, like instead of InfoDBF, just because I have created the same user, reason why I have mentioned over there, else you can use like your server username over there. Then query DN password, and rest other things you can provide, like same user attribute also over provided. So by providing this information to your identity service, you are done with the configuration for identity service. Then you can complete this. Then there is a login service. So the first step is can create login service, the identity service, and then go for login service. Just because identity service required domain domain specific information, and for login service required your uh, identity service information. So if I'll go to in context parameter, here you can see like it is asking for identity service information. Here you can see I have provided like identity service and identity service password, which is earlier mentioned. This section is compulsory because else your identity service and login service will not able to communicate with each other. There like header stuff and other stuff mentioned, like which information gets shared during authentication with LDAP, and here are other information mentioned. So you can update it and you can proceed ahead over here. So after providing this information, you are done with login service configuration. So there are major two steps in Teamcenter security services for this SSO configuration, like identity service and the login service. Once this information has been provided, like you are okay for proceeding ahead. So here I can showcase you like my web context parameter and modify application information. So my login service information, login service WAR file name should be login service, and for identity also I have same name I have provided, identity service. So it will be helpful for to understand. So this web application configuration, like as you can see over here, I have two web applications, like one for SSO where I have configured security services, identity service, and login service, and there is a one more web application manager which is available, or which is which has been configured for your Teamcenter like web client, like TC WAR file, where we from where we can generate our TC WAR file. So once these web services, it means your once your SSO web services creation got completed, then you can deploy them on your web server. Like here is my web server. After completion, I deployed them here. Like here you can see like identity service and login service. Once those got deployed, like you can check them on your browser HTTPS. For the moment, I have configured here. So this is how you can test if it is got deployed successfully. Then you will able to see this image. Right now, my all Teamcenter services are running, so I'll stop it and I'll showcase you few things. I'll close this. My okay, Tomcat should be running, but Teamcenter server manager I'll stop. So even though my server manager is stopped, you are here. I can proceed. Okay, my LDAP check once the connection. It is proceeding. It will take few times. So meanwhile, I can come back over here. So here you can see like building the Teamcenter security services is the key part. Later on, we need to update our identity service and login service information to our Teamcenter server and the reach client. those part will check quickly. Let me see. Okay, this somehow it got stuck. So I'll try it on one more time. So it should proceed quickly. Okay, let it be. Okay, I'll proceed ahead because so many topics we need to cover. So let's go to web client. Like as I mentioned over here, we need to update update Teamcenter security services variables to Teamcenter server. Like in this image, you can see. Okay, in this image, you can see like Teamcenter security services. This information we need to update over here, and it will reflect to your Teamcenter profile batch.bat. Here you can see those information are available here. So by launching TEM, you launch your TEM in maintenance mode and select security Teamcenter security services. And by after proceeding over there, it will ask you like login URL, service URL, and application ID. So this application ID is so important, which we created during our identity service. In identity service, you remember like earlier step I mentioned. If you can, okay. In identity service, there is a like modify tables application registry. So in application registry, we have provided the application ID. So same application ID we have provided over here, and user ID and password. Okay. So the first thing is like update your Teamcenter server with Teamcenter SSO variables. Then verify the change. Like verifying the change is like open your TC profile batch.bat file and cross verify. Then like update your Teamcenter web client. So for Teamcenter web client here, I have already showcased there, but still I'd like to bring you over there. Like here I have mentioned like is SSO enabled true, application IDs, and my SSO login service URL. These three information is important, which I mentioned. Then once it update, like you need to redeploy this TC war file. For the moment, it is already redeployed, so don't need to do that. After proceeding ahead, uh, like we need to install Teamcenter Security Service Agent, like people call like session agent. So this activity you have to perform on client machine because like applet free, like applet free SSO when we are using. So SA will be the part like who is going to keep your session. So earlier, like it was providing the browser window like session token uh, generated by your LDAP, and those token would be available over there in browser. So we need to keep that browser open, else we need to relog in. So now it got changed, and the security agent is available on your machine. So right now I'm not sure. Yeah, here you can see like Teamcenter Security Agent. So after launching your Teamcenter client, it will automatically get started. So for automatically get started, it has some environment variable. By reading that environment variable, it got started. And then, like as I earlier mentioned, our Teamcenter communication way got changed. Right now, it is everything is going through TCCS. So the TCCS by launching your Teamcenter Environment Manager in maintenance mode, we need to update SSO related information to your environment. So here you can, in second image, you can see like I have mentioned my uh, the name of environment for client, and then URL for my Teamcenter, then tag, and then SSO app ID, which is the important part, and the SSO login URL. So earlier, like if you don't have SSO, then your Teamcenter client first hit to the web server. Now the part got changed. Your Teamcenter client first will hit to the it means by reading TC WAR file, it will hit to the login service, and by using login service, it will provide you the login page of 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 SSO. So for NX integration also the similar type of changes we need to mention. I don't have I can a correct image, but I have mentioned few, like there is a customer default tab available in NX where we can provide your login service information and NTP and application ID. So in login URL, you can see like I have mentioned like SA, like session agent. So that is the important part. Then SSO for so let's see like how SSO work. So like I'll go quickly and try to provide you a demo for it. This is something. Okay, so first I went over here. My Teamcenter service is stopped. Let me start it. Start at tc server.exe. Then we can proceed ahead. Close for the moment. Yeah, when tc server.exe got started, it means yes, I can proceed. So let's go with Teamcenter Rich Client first. So by launching it, it will provide me one uh, TCCS window, like where I have to select the environment which I want to work on. And so here here you can see like I have two environments where I want to go with SSO. So after clicking over here, it will redirect me to web server login service page. It's a bit slow. Usually it's not. It's sometimes time consuming activity. Usually it not take this much time. So first time like uh, it will provide me a security service login page at the first. Yeah, these are the variables are required. Like by reading this variable to proceed ahead and able to launch, somehow not getting launched. Let me check with my another machine, like it is possible to showcase you quickly. Sometimes let me check.
As the presenter is switching to the another system, meanwhile, I request if you have any query, please text in the chat box. So we will address this query. Yeah, thanks for the response. We will go with the agenda.
Yeah. So here we can see. Let's Now it is getting height. Share. Fine, then why it is not able to reach? Yeah, give me just a moment. I'll try to take another machine and where I can showcase. So let me take machine. Here I'll do one thing. I'll close this. Close this window as well. Like here, this client also has been configured with SSO. Okay. Somewhat at least it gives some error message. Let me try one more time. Details. Yeah, I got the point. It means I cancelled my session. Reason why it is creating problem for me. And try closing TCCS. And Java W is also there. Like, let me end it. Try at my machine as well. Details Java like this is Apache and this is station over here. And Java and then this is here. Login. Let me minimize it and hope it will proceed faster than earlier. If not, then we need to skip this part and proceed ahead. Okay, I'll showcase you later. So for once it got popped up, so I'll showcase you. So Okay, so here we are like first time login like Teamcenter. First time login like active access client will ask like security. It will provide like security login information where we need to provide login information, and once we confirm the login service information, we will get this token. So additional points like what we need to take care, like identity service log. Like if you want to check the identity service log, here are the parameters which we need to set in during identity service configuration. In identity service configuration, I have mentioned over here this log. So in this log here we can see like if user get authenticated or not. So from here we can confirm my user is getting logged in or not. So this is all about SSO. There are several steps are mentioned, due to time constraints we cannot cover it. So and the team center also sometimes not behave um, as per your need. So I need to take care of it, but I'll try to uh, sort out the issues on another machine, and and showcase you the output, like how how SSO will work. So then let's proceed for SSL part. So in SSL, like what is SSL, how to implement, what are those use cases. So so basically SSL is also the similar kind of stuff, like it is not belongs to Siemens specific service or not belongs to a specific brand, but yes, it is developed by like NexTech. So idle timeout. So 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 basically SSL has so many concerns, like how SSL will work, or what is SSL. So SSL means like configuring your HTTP protocol to the HTTPS, converting your HTTP protocol to the HTTPS. So using you need to create for converting your HTTP to HTTPS. We need to perform some sort of configuration, like those configurations I have mentioned over here in later slide. So what is the SS? It means why SSL is required. So this is standard like WhatsApp image I have copied over here to like nowadays like this term is very frequently getting used, like encrypted data, one-to-one messaging, or the secured communication between you and your special one. So similar kind of stuff like we can implement on your for your team center applications, like where we can configure your certificates, and by configuring certificates we can make sure like our communication will be secure and in an encrypted format. So so terminologies basically get used in SSL, like what is key store, then what is the certificate, what is public key, private key. These are the terminologies basically people or the administrators basically used. So sometimes like whenever we got assigned a task, like we need to configure like HTTPS environment, so people get used to say these kind of words. So like basically key store means like where in key store like you have uh, there is a one file, like I can showcase you over here. I am using I can so this is the key store file by you. This is the this key store file includes your public key, private key, and your organizational details. So how to create certificate I have mentioned over here. There is a Java key tool available by using key tool, or several other applications available by using uh, those tools. You can create your certificate. So first we will try to understand what is key store. Key store means like where you are going to store your public key, private key, and your organizational details. You can say it like a kind of a container which is generated by you, like keygen pair. So then there is a certificate signing request. Certificate signing request means this part came in front, like when we want to get CA certified certificate, then we need to generate CSR from your key store and share it with uh, authorized CA. Then there is a part of certificate. So what is the certificate? Certificate means like your organization details plus uh, plus your public key. Then there is a private key. Private key is basically resides under your key store, and it is all it would be never share with any application or any client. Okay. So then there is a certificate authority. Certificate authority means there are third party who will provide a certification, who provide certification. To get those certificates, we need to reach out there with CSR. I have couple of mentioned ahead. Then uh, certificate validity, like from when to when your certificate would be validated. Then there is a certificate called like self-signed certificate, which we are going to see. Then CA signed certificate, what is difference between CA signed and self-signed? Those parts also available. Then what is CA, or you can like CA certs. So CA certs, like you can say like Java, uh, Java key store. Basically, it is a trust store where which help us to provide the authentication. Who provides the certificate? Basically, there are two types of certificates, as I mentioned earlier, like self-signed and the certified authorities. So we by self-signed means like we can generate the certificate at for our internal network, and we can use certified CA certified certificate as well. So these are the differences between your self-signed certificate and CA signed certificate. Like general usage, like your testing sites or like internal organization site, you can use like self-certified certificates. Rather not having certificate, self-signed certificate is more secure. So and CA signed certificate is the well-known like there are some advanced activity which we need to take care if we are going to use self-signed certificate, and those are not applicable in case of CA signed certificate. So like if we are going to use self-signed, so it would be free for because it is generated by you or any your network admin. And CA, like definitely we need to pay some cost, and it again depends on what kind of security level you are expecting from that certificate. Then website types, like which where you can use like internet or internal QA sites, or any sites which you are building internally for managing your internal data and operations. Then CA certified, like private data or like payment portals. And then trust, I mentioned like less and more. So more less means like we cannot trust, like we cannot share our certificate in outer side of your network. So the reason why it is less, but yes, it is powerful, and it will help you to secure your data. So the additional thing is like web browser response, like it always saves the phishing. Like mm, here you can see, like when I was launching my team center. Mhm. Or else like if I'll go over here and add like HTTP AW client, it upload my phone and it will sort. Okay, so this kind of sign you will see in if you have like self-signed certificate. So this unit, it means administrator has to make sure like on all system you have your certificate installed. Else a user has to trust it once and then he can proceed. Then he will not face this challenge. So just because this is not the first time, I have already performed the actions and imported it. Reason why it is available in the system. If you are going to check the certified certificates, it will yeah, like I can reach out to Google site. Here you can see this connection is secure, and here we can see the difference. So this is how like certified uh, authorized certificate looks like. And at our case, like it is self-signed, so there is a no certified authority. So I'll minimize this. Like for AWS also my SSO got down. So, see, so then like these are the known authorities who can provide you certified certificate. Then this is how like typical scenario of SSL, how basically SSL works. So like in SSL, basically uh, client will check like am I pointing to a correct server or not. So client basically confirm server authentication. It means server. Uh, you can say like server validity. So like client first of all like try to provide the URL. So I'll simplify this. Quickly go over here. I'll do one thing. I'll clear my cache and then let's see how it will work. Like so, it will be very helpful. I'm not to go there. I'll provide here. Like this is how like first time you will get. So I'm not. If I'll go over here and this image is suggesting like client request a secure data, usually HTTPS. So browser, like my website, basically my web server, Tomcat is having like once my client reach out to the server, my server has sent one certificate to him. So this certificate is it means like the public key and some organizational details. Here you can see those details are available. So if I'll import it to or you can say like if I'll proceed with it, so it will get installed over here once. So now once if it got installed, if I'll close this and launch it once again, it will not ask for it. Okay, here you can see the difference. So this activity, it means uh, end user or the administrator has to take care when he is going to have um, self-signed certificate. So this is how like self-signed certificate will work. Like basically, if you are having certified certificates, then you don't need to perform this activity. Those are already available. So those are already available in your system means what? Like those browsers will be tightly work with the third party, like the authority, like OpenSSL, or you can say the authority I have mentioned over here, like DigiCert or SSL.com. So these will take care of the public certificate and their organization details. So when here you can see one of the Java certs or trust store, like here I have already imported, but still it will ask for me. But rest of the others are the CA certified certificates are available. So for them, it will not ask like or it will not provide you the message like this site is not certified. So there are several key tools available. Like where by using you can generate your certificate. So I'll try to showcase you like how to generate the certificate and how to export those certificates. Like first like create a new key file, and by using or key file means like kind of a key gen pair you can say, or you can say like key store. And after like creating certificate, then if you want to provide those information to certified CA for getting certified certificate, you need to generate a signing certificate signing request, else it is not necessary. If you are going to use self-signed certificate, you just need to export the self-signed certificate and then you can proceed. Here I have mentioned like what are the Teamcenter services we can configure for SSL. Like there are several services like Teamcenter server means like web server, server manager, Teamcenter gateway, Solar, microservices, dispatcher, then basically Teamcenter Edge client and AW. So all those services we can configure with SSL, or we can like. So here are the things like how to create the certificate, or how to create the CSR. So there are few types I have mentioned, like what are the certificate types or the file types available. There are several formats. So basically in Teamcenter, we most probably use like JKS or .p12 or like PEM is the every time we heard about. So I'll showcase you that as well. Like here we can see like to generating key pair, like there is a key tool command which is available uh, in your Java location. By using key tool command, you can generate your certificate, key store, and you can export your certificate from it. And then this is the sample configuration for how to configure your web server with certificate. So here you can see like you can launch your open your server.xml uh, in edit mode, and then you can add this parameter over there. So if that file is open over here, so I can showcase you. This is what I have mentioned over here. Oh, this is the problem. Okay. Okay, I cannot reveal the password, so I'll keep this part over here. Okay. So this is how we can convert it our 8080 port to HTTPS. Few people like keep this HTTP 8080 port on HTTP open, and they configure like 8443 port number for SSL. So basically like configuring SSL, here you can see like I have provided the key store and the key store password. This is the important part while configuring SSL at server level. We need to configure we need to provide key store to your web server, and we need to provide the key store password. We need to enter over there. So this information will once it means directly you can copy and paste over there and restart your web server. So like web server will be HTTPS. Then these are the few information about like how it means certificate deployment for RAC. So web browser, once your web server got configured for SSL, then you can proceed for your switch client. Just because like your web server um, is going to be HTTPS mode, so then your port tier URL get changed to from HTTP to HTTPS. So there are some prerequisites, like we need to make sure like wherever we are going to use Teamcenter Rich client on those machine, your your certificate should be installed on that machine. Then there is a several um, it means utilities available. By using that utility, you can import, or else you can go for key store. Like here, I have already imported my certificate. I have showcased you. Like here, you can see like this is self-signed certificate which I imported. From here, like here, you can provide. You can browse your certificate and import it. This is my okay. This is the certificate. You can choose your certificate. These are the format file extension. You don't have to worry about these. All are the certificates. It is already there, so I'll not proceed and import. And this is how like your system will. It means your trust store will be will aware about this certificate, and you can proceed for your rich client configuration. Once it got installed, then you don't need to perform any other configuration, and you can simply proceed for launching Teamcenter. Right now, like we are having trouble over there, reason why I'm not able to showcase. My team is working on it. Once it's done, I'll try to showcase you. Then certificate deployment for AW. For AW deployment, like there are few changes, not much, but this is the main change which you need to main change, like you need to update over here in update client gateway settings. Like update client gateway settings, like will ask for AWC and the SSL setting. So it depends Like it is not necessary you should have SSO first and then SSL. It depends on you. Like you can configure your for 4-tier environment also for SSL. Configuring SSL, I have provided like certificate, uh, certificate and security key. So here I am providing only the certificate and the security key. Security key, it does not mean I am sharing private key over here. I am using the public key. The major concern over here is like Teamcenter Active Workspace will accept only if your certificate file name and your certificate key name should be the same. Then only it will allow you to proceed and successfully get configured. So then how to configure FMS? So we can configure our FSC service also. Like we need to update your user property file and FMS master and some environment variables and preferences we need to set. So our and 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 client setting as well. Then our FSC will be get converted into HTTPS format. So additional point by learning over here, like we need to perform or keep in mind like few environment variables should be set on your system. Then the certificate key file name should be same for the active workspace. So okay. So there is a Teamcenter Teamcenter support basically two-way SSL. Like two-way SSL means like both side certificates should be installed. Then it will work. Like it will cross verify and then it will proceed. So let me check with my team. These are few known issues which I faced during configuration, but still my environment is down. So let me check. So here we can see like after double click, it means after launching Teamcenter rack, finally it got popped up my security service. Here I have to mention my domain name like NexTech PLM Solutions and then the user ID and password. Then once it got done, so before proceeding over here, I'd love to showcase you the uh, log also. So it will be more helpful to understand. So here we can see uh, will it work. So once it proceed, will provide you this uh, token and the session agent got started on my machine. Now my log got updated. So here you can see like InfoDB SSO token get validated. Now so Teamcenter client will get launched. So this is how Teamcenter client got launched with SSO and SSL configuration. So I'll close this to showcase one basic use case. After closing, I'm launching Teamcenter client one more time. So this time ideally it should not ask for new login. So I'll proceed just because my uh, token is still valid. So it will read the existing one and it will proceed for the login. So I'll not take much time of yours and I'll showcase you the AWC also. So over here, this is my URL. Like here you can see this is the HTTPS. It is again asking for security service. So HTTPS and I have to provide my user ID password. Here I can proceed. So and get login once again. So AWC will not deal with session agent. So it will ask every time the login. There are once you get login, like I can log out and try to showcase you one more time. So this is how it got logged in. I'll try to sign out. If I'll try to log in, it will ask again the login image. So this is how like AWC Active Workspace client basically work in context of SSO. And the SSL part is to like securing your communication between server and client. Well, rest other activities like kind of annex integration and MSO, there are less time, so we cannot cope up with it. So thank you all. If you have any concerns or any questions, you can ping us. We'll try to answer it. Uh,
Yes.
Shankit, where you can get this LDAP browser?
yeah, you can. LDAP browser is available in your Teamcenter directory itself. I have separated over here. Like here, you can see um, my SSO setup. Oh, sorry, my setup folder. Okay, it is back. Okay, TCSSO setup, and this is the Apache Directory Studio. Here you can perform the installation of it. It is simple task, like you can proceed. It will not, it will only ask like installation location and it will get installed.
Okay, thanks, Shankit.
Yeah. So if you have any concerns, you can ping us.